We all know that using WordPress, installing it, and running it is a fast task. You can do it in 5 minutes. But what if I say you that you will be just needing a browser to run your a full-fledged WordPress site on your own? So today, me, Sagar Khatioda, standing in front of you, will be talking about WordPress Playground, which is a platform that helps you to run a full-fledged WordPress just using your browser. Before the talk, let me introduce about myself. I am doing web development since more than a decade now, and I think it's been a decade when I last presented in a WordCamp also. And I help businesses and personals to in their digitization journey. So during that process, I encountered with WordPress Playground, and it fascinated me, and just wanted to share everyone about this wonderful tool. Before beginning, let's get familiar with some terms that we come across while we are looking through WordPress Playground. WebAssembly, have you heard about WebAssembly? Uh, WebAssembly is something in your browser that helps to run system level code in your browser. So we will be able to make our browser as a server that we will see in our example using WebAssembly. Thanks to the open source community around, WordPress hasn't built everything on its own from scratch. It is dependent on the open source products that are already available. So how it works is when you go to the website, suppose playground.wordpress.net, it will be loading our iframe with the playground. The iframe makes request. Usually what happens is the made request goes to the server, right? But it will not go to the server. The service worker will intercept the request and then divide it. If it is an intensive task, it will be assigning it to another service worker. And then if not, if we need a server, this is a WebAssembly that is set up as a server. So you can see that there is a PHP stack, there is PHP classes and WordPress files, SQLite database, not the MySQL database. They have converted it so it works with SQLite database. This is a server setup that runs fully on your web browser. Running a playground is not enough. You need to customize it. The customization, first level of customization begins with query API. What is query API? They are simple query parameters that you pass in the WordPress playground. Suppose if you want to install a plugin, you just give plugin equals to something. If you want to install a theme, you give theme equals to something. If you want to define PHP version, you give PHP version equals to something. So there are many options. You can see the documentation regarding that. If your need is not fulfilled by the query API, you have to move to JavaScript API. JavaScript API is a JavaScript library which you can access through WP Playground/client or directly through URL, and then import a function called start playground web, where you will be passing the required parameters on which iframe to use, what are the parameters that you want to pass when loading your playground. So this increases the level of customization that you can do with your code. The main other thing is Blueprint API, which is mostly useful for us product designers and everyone. Blueprint API means the full customization. You can define the steps and everything. Blueprint API begins with a JSON file that has everything. First, we have to define what are the parameters we want to load our playground on, like which schema to use, what are the preferred versions and everything, what is the landing page and everything. We define it in the top level, and in the bottom level, you define the steps, like you want to log in, you want to install a plugin, you want to run a PHP code, you want to import demo data and everything. You can define that in the steps. How to use the JSON file then? We built a JSON, but we have to use it somewhere. So you can either convert the JSON to a stringified version or base64 encoded version. Then you can use a URL fragment. So URL fragment is URL hash and that value that you are using. Then you can use it like this, or a better way to do it is putting your JSON file in publicly available URL and then using blueprint URL query parameter. So we are combining query API and this with for loading blueprint. You can also pass the blueprint JSON file in your JavaScript API directly. When you are logged in, so you know basic terms on how to customize it. When now you are in the playground, what are the features that are available inside the playground? It's a WordPress environment, but it has some extra features, right? So these features are, you can directly get the PR preview of PR from WordPress and Gutenberg. Such an amazing thing. You can just type in the number of the PR and you will be getting the code changes, the effect it brings using this playground. Another thing is you can import and export the playground data. Why it is important, I'll be talking later. So we can customize the version of WordPress, PHP, the language it is using, and also some extra features like allowing network access and also creating the multi-site using the setting itself. It has some limitations. So it runs on a browser. It has some limitation. It is temporary in nature. So if we connect the dot, why iframe? Because it is temporary in nature. If you reload the page, then everything is gone. So what can we do? Second thing, the importing and exporting of that. So that is useful because it will be gone if you reload. So if you want to preserve data of what you have done till now, you can reload, so save it using zip or using GitHub. It runs on a browser, means WebAssembly is handled differently by different browsers, and there might be some problems that occur. That might occur. It happens in our scenario too. If we are using Nginx or Apache or everything, they might differ. So that's kind of small changes or subtle things that might not run. So beginning this, how can we use WordPress Playground? How it is useful to us? Teaching learning, it's something I came up first thing because when we are doing a workshop, the first thing that we encounter is that people set up their environment. That takes longer than teaching them what we can do with the WordPress. So, or if someone is a beginner in WordPress, we are afraid that they will break our website. So we can set up an environment that runs on Playground so they can break anytime, then if it is reloaded, it's fine again. So we can do it for the beginners too. This is what I use WordPress Playground most for. It's like running scripts, installing the themes with the demo data, which I don't have to delete later, and installing the plugins, knowing that they won't break up my settings that are already there. So we have some live sites that we have not touched for ages, and we want to make some code changes, like we want to upload some plugin or anything. If we want to test it manually, like running a script, usually we can use Playground to see if it is not breaking anything. In the testing process, many have gone to the automated flow, and setting up with WordPress Playground will make a disposable environment that can be useful in quality assurance and automated testing. To all the product developers there, you can make your own blueprint JSON and host it so that you can use the power of Playground without worrying on setting up a different server or losing the data through it. So if you have a plugin that runs in admin, so you don't have to worry that someone will come to your demo and break things. So it will not be broken because it runs in your browser. That's all. Maybe we have different use cases, maybe different things that we can do. I think that you can explore it yourself. You can find me in social media using my handle SakarUK, and that's for the talk. We don't have QA in this session, so if you want to ask anything, please meet me outside. Thank you.